Okay, so in the last session, we have explored few things related to HTML, particularly like document type declaration, like non-semantic tags. Okay, so how to style elements. Yeah, these things we have seen in the last session. Okay, also we discussed about web generations. What is web 1.0? What is 2.0? What is 3.0? Okay, also I requested you to go through like what are rendering engines. For example, you take Chrome, we use Blink in that. When we work with like Edge or Internet Explorer, we use here Trident engine. Okay, Mozilla Firefox, they use Gecko. You have different types of rendering engines, how they work. I even shared a document with you the other day. Okay, just go through the document, try to understand. They are very important. Okay, so how basically things work, if you understand, further coding can become easy. So that's the reason you have to be very strong in the basics. Once you're, good at basics, then you can do advanced things without any difficulty. Advanced things, whatever we say, they are really not advanced. They are more like tools. Okay. So when you know the basics, then in that case, it can be very simple for you. These days, everyone is using basically frameworks. So in the framework, what is happening? We don't have idea. Clear idea we don't have. We do something and something we get there. Any of that work we are finishing. But internally, how things are working, we never try to understand. If you understand how internal things work, then it is going to be really like you enjoy the working. Okay, basics when you know, definitely you can do many wonders. But without knowing basics, if you simply depend on libraries or if you simply depend on actually existing frameworks, you may do your work, but definitely you can't enjoy the work. Okay, so this was in the last session. We have seen, let me render once again what is happening in this. So this was the first file we created. Sorry, second one, index. In this, I was showing some tiger image. Okay, tiger picture. But whenever I resize, what is happening in that case? The tiger is also getting resized. This is because of responsive web design. Even in the bottom, whatever you have, this is also getting actually resized. Okay, so this is because of the responsive web design. You can achieve this one using this tag. Meta name equal to viewport, content equal to width, content width equal to device width, then initial scale equal to 1.0. That means we are going to zoom 100%. Okay, we are zooming 100%. And at the bottom also, if you take the width as 50%, this is fine. But instead of going with 50%, if I go with something like 400 pixels, like px I put. What happens in such cases? Let us see here. Once again, I refresh this. Okay, it is looking like this. Since the size is small, no problem, because this is using here. Now what I'm seeing in this case is, it is actually extra small device width. But as I increase here, I'm going to get more and more width. So in that case, it is going to be with the different breakpoints. Breakpoint is nothing but here, screen size. What are the breakpoints we have? Let us see. Like extra small. Okay, then small. We have medium. Then you have large. Okay, large. Similarly, extra large. Like this, you have certain here breakpoints. Extra small size, probably less than or equal to some 400. Okay, it is going to be less than or equal to 400, and small in that case, it may be greater than or equal to something like 400. Okay, similarly, medium, I'm giving some rough idea on that. You can find exactly by Googling it. Okay, it may be something like here, some 700, rough estimation I'm giving in this case. Now, when you go with the large, it may be something like here, 1000, and when you go with the extra large, it may be something like here, 1400. So in this range, we have the width of the devices. Okay, width of the devices can be less than or equal to 400 and greater than or equal to 400 in the case of small. Medium is going to be greater than or equal to 700. Large means it's greater than or equal to 1000. And when you go with the extra large, it is greater than or equal to 1400. They are nothing but width of the device. Okay. Since I have given here tiger width as how much I gave here 400 px I have given. Px is nothing but pixels. Okay, now I want to give this as 600. What will happen now? See, when I go with the size, it is getting truncated. The tiger is actually getting here truncated. Some image actually we are losing. Since we are using here wrong, units. When you use pixel exactly, it's going to use 600 pixel. But when you go with a small device, that many pixels are not available to you. So therefore, what happens? It is going to be truncating that part. So in such case, you need to go with the percentage of the screen. Okay, you can go with percentage of the screen, something like here, go with the, in this way, go here with the 60% or go with the 80%. What happens? Let us see. Depending on the width of the device, it is going to be getting rendered for us. Let me refresh this and try to once again do this. So what is happening? It's getting resized according to the width of the device. According to the width of the device, it is actually getting here resized. So this kind of thing we can call as, we can call this particular thing as here responsive design. Okay. Similarly, when you go here with the height, width I have taken the size from 300. Now I want to go here in this case with a width of like 500 px. Okay, I go here with the 500 px. Somewhere I have here I have a paragraph here. Automatically it's going to use 500 pixels. Now what happens? Let us see in this. Again, I refresh, then I try to, okay. So I try to again, in the bottom, you have the paragraph like this, paragraph text. Okay, so now the scroll bar you are not getting in that case. You are losing the scroll bar in that case. Reason, the width actually not fitting in that case. Okay, it is what extra small we have taken. So now instead of going with here some 500 pixels, if you go here with some 50% of the area, let me go with the 50% in this case. It looks actually now differently in this case. So come here and refresh. After that, let us try to resize it. Now, when you resize, what is happening? The scroll bar is also shown always. It is showing always. It is because of a responsive design. Whenever you go with responsive design, try to use here the pixels. Now, instead of using pixels, go with the percentage of the width. You can divide the screen width into, different percentages. As per your requirement, you can use the percent. Then in that case, you are not going to lose your content. Okay, as per the screen, it will be getting adjusted. Okay, as per the screen, this is going to be getting adjusted. So this is very, very important in the case of responsive design. Because these days, what we are doing, we are rendering the content in different devices. You may render sometimes in the mobile phone, sometimes you render in the laptop, small size, sometimes you render the same content in a bigger laptop screen size, or you may go with the bigger screens, like in TVs also you can see. So in such cases, you have to use this kind of mechanism. So this is what percentage we use. So using percentage, you can, give the width for that. So it is using in this case 50% of the width. Okay, so this is basically here responsive design. You have to use percent whenever you are giving the width particularly. Whenever you are defining width for a particular element of the screen, you need to go with the percentage. In that case, that can render in a better way. Okay, so this was the page we created yesterday. It is a simple HTML page getting rendered in the browser. And one more thing, what we were using is here lang equal to France. Okay, this is what exactly France language. You should have the content in the France language. Now, suppose you have enabled screen reader. You enabled a screen reader. So in that case, automatically it can read. Whatever you have in that, it can read. The content can be read here. So let me enable the screen reader. So for this purpose, I go to extensions. Okay, so here extensions I want to manage here. These are different types of extensions I have in the Chrome. Now let me here search an extension. So this extension is basically screen reader. Okay, it is not available here. I need to search it. I can go to web store. From web store, I can search screen reader. I just search here screen reader. Okay, so I want to use some screen reader, simple screen reader. So I can use with this. Okay, add to Chrome. Okay, I'm adding a simple screen reader. Okay, now when I try to render this web page, this language is actually French language. Upon restart, I think I get this. Okay, so it is going to be reading basically automatically. When you render the web page, it can read the content. Whatever content is written here, it can read. So basically, this is a screen reading mechanism. Once again, let me launch the page. Okay, this is available for us. Change site information or run in the background. Okay, I am closing this here. Now I want to go with the web page running again. Okay, so it is shown here. If you have fitted with computer screen, it can read whatever content is available in this case. This basically can read for us. Okay, so it is screen reader you can enable upon starting computer next time. So it is going to be starting, or else you need to close the browser entirely. Then again, you need to start. Okay, so when you start, in this case, it should start reading the screen reader. Otherwise, you have to tweak with few settings. Then you can read the content, whatever is written here, depending on the language attribute. So here I go to this, then change the language attribute to something like EN. Okay, instead of going here with FR, I go here with the EN. Similarly, I have a para. I have a para here. In the case of para also, I can use LANG equal to like EN. Okay, so this has to read in the English language. Let me once again refresh. So in that case, it should read because I am using headphones. So whatever is actually here, read that cannot be heard by you. I'm using headphones. So whatever is read, actually it is coming in through the headphone. I'm not using speaker, because of that you cannot hear. But otherwise, if you try in your computer in the same manner, you can hear that. So I have enabled here screen reader. So people who have disability, they can use this kind of mechanism. Whose vision is blurred or who cannot see. So by using screen readers, whatever you have in this, they can read. So this way, it is going to be useful to us, this lang attribute. Okay, with the help of this lang attribute, you can mark it as English language. Then using the English voice, this can be getting rendered. This is called as basically text to speech conversion. We call it as TTS. So with TTS, it can convert the text into speech and you can hear it. So this attribute we use, it's called as here lang attribute. With the help of that we do. So these give actually a state for the document here. So in what language we are going to write everything? In the English language. Okay, similarly, we have other attributes like SRC. SRC is nothing but source. When you go with the image, what image you are rendering, that's with the SRC. Similarly, you go with the body, style, background color equal to white we have taken. So the entire document is going to be getting rendered with the white color here. If you change this to red, you can get in the red color, that particular thing. See here, when I refresh, it is going to come in the red color now. Okay, everything is coming in the red color. So these are basically attributes of the HTML elements. Okay, an element, as we know, it contains a starting tag and a closing tag. If you look at HTML, this is starting tag, and here in the bottom, it's ending tag. Similarly, we have a P in the case of paragraph. This is a starting tag and this is ending tag. But certain tags or certain elements don't have actually any ending. This element doesn't have any ending tag because this is not containing any content. Okay, when it's containing any content, in such cases, you require starting and closing tags. But here we don't have any content. So therefore, it's just drawing the ruler on the screen. You can have a horizontal line, or we can say it as horizontal ruler. So it is not containing any content. Therefore, it is called as here a non-container tag or non-container element. So element contains starting tag and closing tag. So this element is here a non-container element. So further, we were talking about actually semantic and non-semantic. Okay, we were talking about semantic and non-semantic. Here, when we come to the body part, okay, in the body part, I am using here a div tag. So div is what basically, it is nothing but some section without having any name we are keeping it. Div means you can have anything in that. Div can be containing any data. It can contain image, it can be containing header, it can be containing paragraph, it can be containing footer, it can be anything. So that we call as basically div. So this is not having a clear meaning. We call it as a non-semantic kind of thing. Okay, it's a non-semantic element. Semantic meaning is well-defined meaning is called as semantics. So here, for what purpose we use div, for any purpose you can use. So this is not a semantic element, it's a non-semantic element. Similarly, H1, paragraph, all these are nothing but here non-semantic elements. Okay, we have seen two different types of elements. Okay, one is what? Div, other one is span. So div is what? Block level element, and span is what here? It is a inline element. We know that block level elements always start at a new line. Okay, always they start at a new line. That means in a new line, always they start. Whereas span can be, I mean, multiple span elements you can have in the same line. That means they are inline, whereas div or paragraph or H1, H2, these tags, okay, so they are called as here block level elements. We call them as block level elements. That means they start at new line. That means if you put two div tags on the physical line, they are going to be getting separated into two different lines. So that's what actually is div and paragraph or H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6 elements. Okay, so they can be called as here block level elements. Whereas span is what here, it is a non-block level, or we can say it is an inline. You can have here two elements together, span and span here. What is happening in this case? They are shown in the same line. But if you see the two paragraphs, we are keeping in the same physical line, but when you render, they are going to be in separate lines. This is what here, welcome, how are you? If you see how it is coming up, you can find. Okay, welcome is like this and how are you is like this. Lot of gap you have in between them. Why the gap? Because in the style, we gave certain height for the paragraph. If you look at this, what is the height? 200 pixels we gave here. Okay, 200 pixels we gave here. So welcome is getting printed. After that, you have here some 200 pixel space, vertical space. Then after that, this is getting printed. Okay, and these are what here? These are block level elements. Even if you don't use height, what happens? See, I remove the height here. You can put comments for the style in this manner. For the CSS, you can have this kind of style, commenting. Comments are always important. We have one type of comment for HTML, for JavaScript, other comment, and for CSS, you have different type of comment styling. So now when I render here, even in this case also, they are not shown side by side. You have welcome here, how are you is coming in the next line. But when you go with the span, how they are coming up, if you see on the screen, so here in the case of span, hello, how are you? If you look at this, you find the same thing. Okay, if you see, this is nothing but here span element. These two are different span elements, they are coming in the same line. So that's why we call them as inline elements. Okay, span is inline, whereas div or paragraph or say H1, H2, H3 or table, they are basically called as block level elements. They're called as block level elements. And this, if you look at span or if you look at div or H1, H2, H3, these are non-semantic elements. Okay, they are not semantic elements because they are not clearly conveying any information to us. For what purpose you are using that element, there is no idea. So that's why they are called as non-semantic elements. Okay, so we can have semantic as well as non-semantic elements. As per HTML5, you can use this non-semantic elements. Okay, what is semantic element? Let me tell now here. Okay. See, whenever you look at any website, you find HTML code like div. Similarly, For example, I want to show something in this manner. I want to show here bootstrap link. Okay, let me get the bootstrap CDN. So this link I want to use here, bootstrap CDN link. CDN is called as actually content delivery network. I'm going to use the bootstrap link. So this is the CSS I'm trying to use. Okay, anonymous not required basically. Okay. So this is JS as well as integrity not required. Separate. Cross origin is also not required. Okay. That is for script purpose we use. Fine. So here we can get the clear link. Okay, I can use the bootstrap CDN. This is for CSS. For cascading style sheets, I can get here. Okay, I go with the new file here in this default.html. And here I need to go with the doc type declaration, followed by I have to go with HTML. Then here it is head. Okay. And inside the head, I can go with the link. So here I'm going to refer the bootstrap CSS. So these are predefined styles. You can style the elements. Okay, similarly, I must use here a title. When you use title, with this what happens? You can optimize your page for search engines. Okay, this is bootstrap example. I gave some title for that, then followed by I can go here with the body part. Okay, this is here body, and now inside this I can define various elements. Now entire bootstrap CSS is available for me. Okay, entire bootstrap CSS is available for me. So now I want to go here with some div. Okay, I'm going to use here some div. In the div, I would like to put some content here. So div here, what I write, ID equal to not ID. So I can write here. Yeah. So here I can put class equal to. I can put something like here header. Okay. Similarly, this is first div. Similarly, here I go with this then div followed by here class equal to. I write this as footer. Okay, in between, I can have other div tag. Okay, I can put another div tag. So here I can put some content, sample text. Okay, the heading, I just put this as header. And here I want to put this as footer. Okay, then here ampersand, copy. I just put a symbol like this. Copyright mark, I put here. So when I render this default.html, how it looks, see here. Okay, on the top you have header, in the middle you have sample text, and here this is nothing but footer. Like this, we have here 3 different sections. We are sectionizing this particular document. So both footer and header, we use the class header with the help of that we are doing. That means div we can use for any purpose. Okay, sometimes you can use for header, sometimes you can use for footer, and sometimes you can use for the content of the body. So in any manner we can use. It doesn't have here clear-cut meaning. As far as div is concerned here, it doesn't have here clear-cut meaning. Okay, so that's why this is called as a non-semantic element. Okay, so when you talk about div, what exactly div is doing, it can wrap up some content. Okay, it can put some content inside that can be getting rendered. So that much idea we have. But exactly for what purpose we can use, so there is no clear-cut definition for this particular thing. Only you have to use div, so that nothing like that. So that's why this is called as here non-semantic element. Okay, whereas semantic elements are, I mean, for example, you take a web page. There are different parts in that. You may have header, you may have a navigation bar, you may have a section. Okay, so you may have an article, you may have a side. Side meaning is what? Left side or right side in the screen. You can divide screen into three parts: left side, nav bar, left side bar, right side bar. In the middle, you have content. So like that, you can use a semantic element. With help of that, you can define in a better way, and you can use even the footer. So all these can be like semantic elements. A header is going to be header on the page. On the top of the page, you have a header. You may have a navigation bar. With navigation bar, you can be navigating from one page to another page. You can navigate from one page to another page. Suppose here I kept some header, then I go with the div. Inside this div, I can use for navigation purpose. I may write this as class equal to, okay, nav bar, something like this I may put. And I put even here nav, something like that. Okay, navigation bar as well as nav I'm keeping. Then followed by here, I want to go with some anchor tag. Okay, A, then followed by href equal to, I want to go to home.html. Okay, this is what here, home.html. Similarly, I can put this as here home page. I want to name this as home page. And to the right of this, right side of the NBSP, this is non-breaking space. This is called as here HTML entity. Normally, when you give spaces like this, when it's more than one space, it's going to take only one space. And even if you press enter key, it will not go into next line in the HTML. So in such cases, you need to use here either break tag or you need to use here non-breaking spaces. So even if you put 5 or 6 spaces, it's going to take only one space. If you want to explicitly put some 6 spaces, you have to go with the NBSP. Okay, here I have something like this. I'm pressing enter key like this. Then I want to put some A here. Next A I want to put href equal to, here I want to go with the index.html. Okay, index.html. Then I write this as here HTML. Okay, sorry, index page. Like this I put. Now when I render, I can find two links. So first link should be going to home.html, second link to index.html. They are going to come in the same line. Though I press enter key, they are not coming actually in different lines. They are going to be shown in the same line. Okay, now come to this part again, render this. What is happening here? Home page and index page, side by side, you can see them. Though physically they are in the different lines. I'm keeping the different lines, but they are shown in the same line. So in such cases, you have to use either break if you want to put in different lines. If you want to put in same line with space, you have to go with the this kind of thing. Ampersand NBSP, it's called a non-breaking space. Similarly, you go with the NBSP and one more NBSP I put here. Okay, so I have here now 3 spaces. Now I'm going to have here 3 spaces. So with that, it is going to be rendering. You can find here clearly the distance between them now. We have here 3 spaces. When I click on the index, now it goes to index. Okay, I'm coming into index page. So this way you can have navigation from one page to another page, you can navigate. Okay, so whenever you look at the document structure, you may have header, you may have navigation bar, then you may have content. Okay, after that you may have footer. But for all of them, we are using div here. We are not using any particular element. So that's why we call them as here non-semantic elements. They are not semantic, they are non-semantic elements. Okay, so semantic elements are like in the HTML5 we have, these are like article, aside, details, caption, figure, footer, header, main, mark, nav. So these can be called as here semantic elements. They have clear-cut meaning in such cases. Okay, for example, you take a section. We have a section semantic element. So section is going to define a section of the document. You may divide your section into number, you may divide your document into number of sections. So each and every section, you can mark this section. Every section is going to be containing inside that a chapters, introduction, news items, or contact information. Such things you can use in the for the, I mean, with section, you can, such things you can put on the page. Like when you want to define chapters, you can use section element. When you want to go for some introduction, you can use section element. And when you want to go with new items, news items, you can use the section. Similarly, contact information also you can put in the section. So for different purposes, you have different types of semantic elements. Okay. Similarly, if you want to go with like article element, you have article element. So article element, you are going to define something independent and self-contained content. In such case, we go with the article. They are mostly whenever you post something in the forums, or whenever you are going with blog post kind of thing, or whenever you want to put some comment, or whenever you want to go with the product cards, newspaper articles, such things you can put in the semantic elements. Semantic elements have well-defined meaning, whereas non-semantic elements, they don't have the well-defined meaning. So like this, you can use either semantic elements or non-semantic elements. But when you use semantic elements, readability improves a lot. You can improve the readability. So readability meaning is what? By looking at the document easily, one can understand. Now, in this case, I mean, it is not easy to understand. Suppose I put here a comment like this. Following is document header. Okay, this is called as your HTML comment. This is called as your HTML comment. Similarly, I can go here, then I type here another comment. Following is, okay, navigation bar, navigation section. Okay, navigation section, but with div we are doing. Similarly, I can put here, this is, following is, okay, actual content, like this. And here this is going to be footer. For all the things we are using div. So div is what here? It is non-container. Sorry, div is a container tag, but this is here non-semantic element. Div is a non-semantic element, but whereas when you go with the header, footer, they can be called as semantic elements. They have predefined meaning. In the header, you have to show header. In the navigation, you need to put navigation related stuff. Similarly, when you go with the section, for section purpose only you can use. When somebody is going through the document, they can easily understand for what purpose you are using them. So it is going to be comfortable for the user who is reading your code. Further, suppose somebody has to modify your page, in that case, easily they can modify when you use actually semantic elements. When you go with semantic elements, in that case, it is going to be very easy. But when you go with the non-semantic elements, it is difficult to comprehend, to understand. Suppose I don't put here class equal to header. For what purpose is used? It's going to be in a confusion. Okay, so try to use here semantic elements. They are going to be very, very helpful to us because you are going to put for the comment boundaries. So for what purpose, sorry, for the content you are going to put boundaries. For what purpose you are using that particular element, you can easily understand. So when you go with the semantic elements. So anyhow, whether it is semantic or non-semantic elements, HTML page can render, no difficulty in rendering. But for our clarity, if you use semantic elements, that would be really good. Okay, so this is basically what a sample HTML document we have seen. Sometimes what happens, we have to use like certain things on the screen. So, suppose you want to put something like less than symbol or greater than symbol on the screen. But what happens whenever the browser encounters a greater than symbol, in that case, it can't render it. Okay, for example, see here, it is what a href you have here. Then I want to print something here. Okay, I want to print inside this some other text. So this is going to be like is used in tags. This I want to show on the screen. What happens in this case? Now see when I use something like this. Okay, it is getting rendered. Everything is getting rendered here. Okay, it's getting rendered in this case. Okay, so less than is used in tags. Something like this you have here. But index page, is it coming up here for us? Okay, it is coming up properly. Similarly, sometimes you want to, basically what happens whenever it encounters some less than symbol or greater than symbol, that can be a problem. Now let me here show this, how it works. That is not shown at all. And this is also not getting shown as actually here anchor tag. Okay, it's because as soon as this is encountering it as it is thinking that it is a new tag, and what to do with this, it's in a confusion. But in such case, if you want to show here this one, you can go with the ampersand followed by LT, then put something like this. So in that case, you don't have any difficulty. Now you can see less than symbol is coming up for you. Is used in tags, uh, yeah, like index page. So this is what here it's content. This content is coming up. But if you don't use here this particular thing, and if you go with the greater than less than symbol, it is going to be like ending here itself. Further, it cannot read. So it is having a confusion because a tag starts with a less than symbol and ends with a greater than symbol. Here it is starting with a less than symbol. There is no end. So because of that, it's going to be in a confusion. Now again, try to see here what is happening. The text is getting here truncated, and this is shown as simple text only. It's not like a anchor tag. Okay, so in such case, we need to use here this particular entities ampersand followed by this is LT, then put a semicolon. It's going to be showing, it's going to show us uh, here greater than symbol. So like this, we need to use sometimes HTML entities. Okay, we use here, these are called as character entities. We call them as actually character entities. So those entities you can show this way. Okay, this is, I can put this as here less than symbol. Okay, similarly, you go here and try to type GT, then semicolon, it is greater than. Okay, sorry, spelling is wrong. In same manner, we can have many other such entities. Suppose you want to print sometimes ampersand. You can go this way and print here AMP followed by semicolon. How these look now? Let us see. It is greater than, and it's actually ampersand is getting printed like this. So these are called as HTML entities. Sorry, yeah, HTML character entities. Suppose you want to show some cent, or you want to show some pound, or you want to show n. Okay, now I want to show cent first of all. Yes, cent I want to show here. Therefore, for this purpose, I write in this manner ampersand cent, then semicolon. It's going to show cent. In the same way, you want to use some copyright. Okay, you can show the copyright using ampersand followed by copy. You can show that. So here it is ampersand followed by copy, then semicolon. This is character entity. Similarly, I want to go with some trademark. So for trademark, I can go this way, ampersand, reg, semicolon. So these are called as character entities. They are called as here character entities. So when you go with this, you can print them here. You can see cent here. You can see copyright. You can see here trademark symbol. All these are coming. Such things are called as here HTML character entities. So these you have to use sometimes in your pages. In such case, you can use them. And one more thing, you have a non-breaking space. When you press here enter key, even though you press enter key, what happens here? They are going to be shown in the same line, no difference. But to put them in different line, you have to use break tag. When you use break tag, in that case, it goes into next line. So this is again break tag. Now, when you see how it looks, greater than is coming in the next line, and ampersand is coming next line, but after that, we are not using any non-breaking space, so they are coming in the same line. Ampersand, send, copy, and reg are coming in the same line. So this is ampersand symbol, this is for sent, this is for copyright symbol, this is for registered trademark. So for that we use. So like this, you can show them on the screen. These are called as here HTML entities. So basically, when you create HTML page, the document header is very important. Then you need to have header part of the HTML document. Then you need to have body part. In the header part, you can define meta tags. Similarly, you can go with whatever styles you are importing, you can import the styles there. Whatever CSS you want to define on your own, you can define. In the last session, we have seen how to define the CSS. If you come here, we can create here some CSS. Similarly, I could create here some JavaScript. So I have written some JavaScript. So like this, you can contain in the header part. So the style and script elements, wherever you want to define, you can define. Inside the body also, sometimes if you want to define, you can define, but it is always good to create the styles in the header part. But script, you can put somewhere in the bottom of the screen. That means in the body or after body, you can define the script actually. Whatever JavaScript you have, you can define them in the bottom. So in that case, once document is loaded, the script can be running. Okay, so this way you need to structure the HTML page. Then after that, you have to use semantic elements wherever possible. Try to use here semantic elements. With that, you can have a clear-cut definition for all the content, whatever you have in the page. Okay, so this is just review.